Hello and thanks for joining. I'm sure you've all heard one way or the other whether you should turn stabilization off or leave it on when you're taking a photograph from your tripod. And I know I've heard both sides of the debate, read it online, seen YouTube videos, heard advice, but I decided to test for myself to see if there was any difference, and I'll show you my results. And just a little background. I am an electrical engineer and I've worked with motion sensors such as accelerometers, IMUs, and gyros, and the algorithms that use them for controlling motion control devices. And based on my understanding, I couldn't understand why it would be necessary to turn the stabilization off on the camera when you mounted it on the tripod. Since I use the Sony A1, I did read in the Sony manual that they recommended that the stability control be turned off when mounted on a tripod. I did reach out to Sony for a comment on this to better my understanding, and I haven't received a reply at this time. So let's talk about my simple test setup. I used my Sony A1, mounted on a tripod, took a photograph of a test chart 3 times with stability on, 3 times with stability off. Then compared those photographs on my computer to see if there were any differences. All tests were taken indoors without any mechanical disturbance or environmental disturbances. First, I tested handheld, as you can see in the chart, with various lenses that I would use also on the tripod test and using different shutter speeds. I simply wanted to get a baseline and to see if there was anything unique or unexpected going on when I had stabilization on versus off. So let's take a look at a few of the images. These first set of images, green is with stability on, red with stability off. As you can see, this is ISO 1000, 1/250 seconds, f 5.6, 348 millimeters. So I was using my 100 to 400 millimeter test. Again, these first are handheld. As you can see on the first one with stability on, good clean image, acceptable image at least. With it off, not as good. Then at 1/400 seconds, same lens, stability on, good clean image. With it off, not so good. So looking at the 16 to 35 millimeter lens handheld, 1/50 seconds, and stabilization on. Have an acceptable image, maybe a little soft, but acceptable. Stabilization off, definitely soft lens, even completely unacceptable, I would say. 1/20 seconds, stabilization on, a good image. 1/20 seconds with stabilization off, I would say a soft, unacceptable image. Then moving on to the 28 to 75 Tamron lens at 75 millimeter, 1/50 seconds. Stabilization on, good image. Stabilization off, we'll definitely call that a bad image. Same lens, 1/100 seconds. Stabilization on, good image. Stabilization off, we'll call that a bad image. So looking at the overall results for handheld, as I said, I took 3 photos with steady shot on and 3 photos with steady shot off. All the steady shot on photos were good, 3 for 3 results in each of those tests. Steady shot off had a couple good images for a couple of the conditions, but overall I would say those are a fail and had bad images as a whole. And again, This handheld test was just for reference. I wanted to see how the camera performed with steady shot on and steady shot off for the lenses that I will use in the tripod test. I also wanted to see if there was anything unique or unexpected going on with the steady shot for these conditions. And it's a little bit embarrassing to realize that after 3 years of ownership of the camera and the lenses, I've never really tested the image stabilization on the camera. And I wanted to get that tested. How about you? Have you guys ever tested your camera and lenses for image stability? Leave your comments below of what your findings have been. So now let's take a look at the images from the tripod test. And again, this first one's from the Tamron lens at 75 millimeters, 1/100 seconds. Call that a good image. With stabilization off, same settings. Call that a good image too. Now the 75 millimeter at 0.5 seconds, stability on. Call that a good image. Stability off. Looks like a good image too. Now, same lens at 1 second. Good image. Stability off. Good image. Now, using the 16 to 35 at 35 millimeters. 1 second. Stability on. Good image. 1 second. Stability off. Good image. Same lens at 5 seconds, stability on, good image. Stability off, good image. Now looking at the 100 to 400 at 330 millimeters and 5 seconds, stability on, good image. Stability off, good image. Same lens, 20 seconds. Stability on, good image. Stability off, good image. Now there are some obvious lighting changes during the test as I was adjusting the lighting so I could match that with the test conditions that I was using. Now looking at the final results, including the tripod test with the different lenses, the different shutter speeds, steady shot on versus steady shot off. And as I said, I did multiple images of each of the conditions, and we find that there was no difference between steady shot on and steady shot off when on a tripod, these 3 lenses and the shutter speeds. So the conclusion I make from this simple test that I performed is there is no difference between steady shot on versus steady shot off on a tripod at the shutter speeds that I tested. And again, this was the case for the 2 Sony lenses as well as the Tamron lens. And I admit, this isn't a completely rigorous test with full statistical analysis, but I think it is representative of what you can expect from your camera under these conditions. If you have any recommendations for any additional test cases or test conditions, please let me know. If they're simple enough, I'll perform them just because of my own curiosity and to make sure my conclusion is correct. So drop a comment below if you'd like to see something else tested. Thanks for watching. If you could, please like and subscribe to help the channel out. Thank you very much. Have a great day.